Welcome to the Breaking the Barriers podcast, brought to you by Resilience Mindset, a division of Justine Martin Corporation. This podcast is your front row seat to inspiration, empowerment, and real-life stories that will leave you in awe. Join our host Justine Martin, CEO and founder of Resilience Mindset, as we dive into the incredible lives of the 27 models featured in the groundbreaking community project, Breaking Barrier Stories Through the Lens. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and get ready for stories that will uplift, empower, and inspire.
Today we're joined by the inspiring Fiona Demark, a proud mother who has spent a life overcoming obstacles with resilience and creativity. Diagnosed with Rod-Cone Dystrophy at a young age, Fiona was told she might one day lose her sight, but she refused to let that define her. Instead, she approached life with the mindset of adaptation, proving that barriers aren't meant to stop us, they're meant to be worked around. As a storyteller at heart, Fiona turned her experiences into a book, using writing as a way to process her journey and inspire others. Whether through art or raising her two incredible daughters, she continues to show that disability doesn't mean limitation, it just means doing things differently. Let's welcome the incredible Fiona Demark to the show.
You look stunning.
Thank you.
You look beautiful. How was the whole experience?
Yeah, it's been cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why did you want to do it?
I don't know, just I seen it and I went, yep, I'm in for that.
And then asked me earlier what it all was. After you said
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Yeah, I had no clue. It's just like, no, whatever. And, look, also, I know I didn't know you better today, obviously. We've now met properly.
Yeah.
But, I figured whatever you were doing, it had to be a good thing. And so let's get involved.
Awesome. Yeah. And we're going to get you involved in a few more projects in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, Fiona?
So I grew up in an outback town in far western New South Wales, and I was very lucky in the sense that my older sister already had been diagnosed with an eye condition. And so when I came along, there's a middle sister in between that had no eye condition at all. So parents thought everything was cool. And then all of a sudden, ta-da, here I am. And they realised quite quickly that I had the same problems. So resources were really lacking in where I grew up, so we had to go off to Adelaide, which was our closest capital city, which is about 5 hours away.
Yeah.
And that was where I got diagnosis. So it is called Rod-Cone Dystrophy, which doesn't really mean that much, but essentially they told me when I was quite young that one day you will probably go blind. When that was going to happen, how that was going to happen, total mystery.
Yeah.
So I guess I've just lived my life making the best of, whatever's come my way. And it's taught me to take the opportunities that come and do the things that maybe, later on I can't do. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. And it hasn't really stopped me. I think maybe it was the way I was brought up. I've been quite sort of resilient and worked out how to make the choices in life that I really wanted to and follow those dreams. And so it was not, the disability was never going to stop me from doing anything.
So how has your disability shaped who you are today?
It took a long time to get used to, I guess, embracing it, especially growing up in a small country town.
Would you say embracing it or accepting it?
Embracing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to start off with, I just wanted to be like everybody else. And of course there was times when you could
say
there's times when you can do it and times when you can't. And especially when I was younger, it was like, I really just want to fit in. And then I kind of went, oh, okay. And I think I did go through that acceptance period where it was like, okay, well, this is what it is and let's deal with it. And it was very much like that. And then probably within the last 5 years or so, I've learnt to embrace it. And that means actually being proud of it and being aware of what it does to help me rather than just focusing on all the things that I can't do and the places where it hinders me.
Yeah. So what challenges have you faced and how have you overcome them?
There's always been challenges with employment. That's always sort of a bit of a given when you've got a disability, I guess. Sometimes you find the people that are willing to accept and work with you, and then you find the people that are just ready to put you in the too hard basket. So there's definitely been times with employment that's probably the biggest place. And things like education and stuff when I was younger, like the school system didn't really have an idea about how to manage someone with a disability, which happily they're doing much better these days.
Yeah, they are. Still not perfect, but they're getting there. What does breaking barriers mean to you personally?
I think it's about actually, finding where the obstacles lie. And sometimes that's really difficult because sometimes we just go, oh, it's too hard, and we don't actually work out what
Are
the
you loving the
cause of
podcast
problem
so
is.
far?
And so it's actually
Imagine the
working out what the
possibilities
cause
if you
of the
had
barrier
Justine
is,
Martin
and
guiding
then
you through your
working out,
writing
okay,
journey.
well, maybe I can't
Whether
go
you're
over it, can I
crafting your
go
next
under
big
it or
book or
around it?
perfecting a
And so
personal
it's
project,
coming up with plan
Justine's
A and plan B
expertise
and plan
can
C,
elevate your work.
and
Don't miss
trying
out on the
all sorts
chance
of
to
different
work
things
with a
to work
seasoned
out
pro,
how you can
ready to
actually
take
make
your
what you
writing
want
to the next
happen
level.
actually occur.
Message us today and let's
100%.
make your
Adapting
writing
modifying.
dreams come true.
How have you defied societal expectations or stereotypes related to your disability?
Again, I think that's about having a career and doing the things that I love, being able to move out of home, having a normal life, having children. All of those things people with disabilities don't do. I was told when I was young, why are you stressing out about senior high school? You're not going to sort of amount to anything. And it was that underlying theme of, you're just going to stay at home forever and be on disability payments. And that's the life that you're going to live. And it's like, that's not going to happen. And so, in essence, the people that were the naysayers were probably the people that gave me that extra ammunition to just go, you know what, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do all the things that you shouldn't be doing and they think that you can't do, and do what I want to do.
And do it better than what you thought of.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
I'm hearing you on that one.
Yeah.
Don't tell me can't. Just show me the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you describe a time when you felt particularly empowered or accomplished?
I think, in essence, it's every day now. Like, every day I feel empowered to really, as I said, embrace the disability. It's not a one special thing that happens. It's like, it's the way I live my life. And it's about not being afraid to ask for help when I need it, and to really go, you know what, like, if I need to use the white cane, I use the white cane, and there's no embarrassment in that.
Yeah.
If it's, I need to ask for some help, then there's no embarrassment in that. If I need to do something differently, and to be in my head in a safe place where I go, you know what, this is me, and we've all got something. There's always an issue. Everyone's got a problem of some kind. For some people you can see it, for some people you can't.
Yeah.
And it's about actually feeling empowered enough to say, well, this is me. I'm pretty cool the way I am.
Yep.
And if you don't like it,
Yeah, see you later. That's your problem, not mine.
Exactly correct.
So you mentioned briefly then about asking for help. What role has your support system played in your journey?
Look, I think it's integral to have people around you that understand who you are at the core of you, yeah? Because they're the people that are really going to give you help. And it's not just, look, I mean, random strangers will come to me when I'm walking around with my white cane in the city and offer help. And that's amazing. Sometimes it's a little bit like, oh, wow, that's full on.
Yeah.
But other times, look, I've had people literally go out of their way to assist me. And, that's fabulous that we live in a society that can do that. But that's the surface stuff. What really counts is having somebody, in your network that you know you can go to, and whether it's your partner, your children, in my case, you know, both of those are really important to me. It could be friends, it could be someone else that's completely removed from your immediate situation, but that you have a trust in, that you can go to when that support's really needed from a headspace kind of perspective. It's like someone that understands, and sometimes even somebody else in the disability community that actually gets what's going on rather than that outside perception. But, you know, if you've got someone to talk to and someone that understands what's going on for you, that's the most important thing. So there's different levels of helping.
There are different levels of support. Yeah. So how do you stay motivated and positive despite your challenges?
Again, I think that's just part of who I am. You know, we all have those bumps in the road, and it's very easy to fall in a heap, and we all do it at times, absolutely. But it's about going, okay, well, tomorrow's another day, or there's another opportunity ahead of me. And I can sit in the corner and feel sorry for myself, or I can take the opportunity to just get out there and keep on going at it. And, you know, tomorrow might not be an easy day, but the day after might be absolutely amazing. And you don't get to that amazing if you don't push through those hard moments.
Yeah. What are some of your proudest achievements?
Proudest achievements? Wow. Having children and seeing them grow up to be amazing young ladies.
How old are they?
18 and 20 at the moment.
You do not look old enough to have an 18 or 20-year-old. Oh, my God. What's your beauty secret? We're going to just change the interview here for a moment. Wow. I had no idea. I thought you might have had little ones.
No. And I certainly wasn't a baby when I had them. Like, they were born when I was, you know, close enough to 30. So.
Wow. How old are you, Fee?
47?
You don't look 47.
Yeah, 47.
Amazing. Wow.
See, this is why I have, children, because I channel, my 20-year-old told me the other day, she says, you go out and do stuff more than I do, Mum.
Yeah, that's what my daughter says to me as well. Because I've got a 27-year-old and 31-year-old, and my social life is way better than both. That's what happens when you don't have children at home anymore. You don't have social life.
That's exactly right. It's like, oh, you guys are gone. I can do whatever I want.
So your children are your proudest achievements. What else have you done?
What else? Oh, my gosh.
You've written a book.
I've written a book.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
So the book has only just literally hit the decks in terms of being published, so that's quite exciting. I was always a writer when I was a kid, and there's probably a bit of a story in that, in the sense that I always used to write short stories, and the essence of that was I had to learn to type when I was really young. They never taught me how to read Braille because there was no one in my country town that knew how to teach me, I guess. And so typing became the alternative. And as an 8-year-old, typing was the most boring thing ever. Like the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog was the most... How many times I typed that as a child, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And so then it was like, okay, I'll finish the typing lessons, but I still needed to practice. So I would write short stories that ended up to be long short stories.
That would have been on an old-fashioned typewriter.
It originally was on an old-fashioned typewriter. I moved then to one of the soft press typewriters, and then eventually the school let me use the computer. But yes, originally it was on one of those clunky old things that the keys get stuck in.
Wow.
So, yeah, and you know, at 8, I'm like, oh, this is so boring. Why are you teaching me this? And the lady that was in charge of teaching me, she got so frustrated with me at one stage because I'd peek underneath and look at the keys all the time. And she said, stop buggering at the keys. So she went and got sticky dots and put a sticky dot on every single key of the keyboard, except, funnily enough, the numbers. She didn't put the sticky dots on the numbers, and you know what? I can't type now without having that numeric keypad on the side. So she should have stuck a dot on the numbers too. But so that was the thing. So as a kid, always into short stories. Grew up thinking I'm going to be a journalist, And then at 16, when my whole life kind of crashed around me because I was having quite severe mental health issues at the time due to, managing my disability and bullies and, my dad passed away and there was all sorts of stuff happening. And at that point I had this epiphany. I went, journalism is not going to work for someone who is blind. It's just not going to be a career option. And it possibly was because of where I grew up and I didn't realise that there was as many resources. And of course, today you look back and go, oh, we've got heaps of things. You can be a journalist, no worries. But of course the technology wasn't so great back then. And I was like, well, I can't really drive myself to the scene of the crime to go in and report on it. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's not a career option. And decided that I would do social work instead.
Yeah.
Because I realised that potentially my situation could then, help others by me having my life experiences. And so that's what I followed and finished high school. And since then, look, I'm doing university again now.
What are you studying?
Inclusion and diversity graduate certificate, which is pretty cool.
It is very cool.
And so... But I sort of hadn't really put pen to paper since finishing university. And I'm like, okay. And so then I thought, well, you know what, there is a story to be told. And I didn't realise until I sat down how much trauma I dealt with as a teenager. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, oh, there's possibly a book in that. And so that's what it is. It's a bit of a retelling of my teenage years and all the bumps along the road and then how I came out the other end.
Awesome. Well done. Because, 80% of people want to write a book and 5% do.
And it was amazing how quickly it happened. Like once I started, fingers to keyboard, it looked maybe 6 months from the time I started until the time that it's been published.
5 years for me at the moment. I've rewritten it 4 times. It's going to be out this year, but it'll be out by the time this actually gets broadcast.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about writing your own book? Join the Morpheus Publishing Writing Group program and turn your dream into reality. Contact Morpheus Publishing today and start your journey to becoming a published author.
What hobbies or activities are you passionate about?
I love adventure of any kind. And I love trying new things and things that are on the border of what most people would call a bit crazy.
We're not most people.
So yeah, like anything that involves a bit of adrenaline. I do pole dancing as one of my weekly activities, which is lots of fun. And just proves that you don't have to be, a size 6 and, 20 years old to be able to do that. That, it's a challenge because obviously I do have to have a fairly high level of fitness and strength to be able to do it. And so it keeps challenging me because it's like, okay, well, you've got to be fit enough to be able to do the things, or you've got to be brave enough sometimes. It's like, you know what, like you're just hanging on by the back of your knee and in your armpit, and it's like, you can take all your hands off. And I'm like, I'm not taking my hands off. It's like, well, you can. And then you realise, oh, actually, I can, because I'm actually being held upside down by other bits. And so, yeah, so that's really cool.
It's a trust in your support.
Absolutely, yeah. And so I've been doing that for about 3 years. So that's pretty cool. And the reason I took that up is because I always wanted to get into dance and thought, well, you don't need a partner. You don't need to rely on anybody. The pole's not going to move. So all I need to worry about is where I am and remember where the pole is. If I let go of it, makes it easy.
Yeah.
So that's.
Then you find the ground pretty fast.
I have not, I don't think, ever fallen so far in that time. Like if you know what you're doing and you do it properly and you wait until everything seems secure, it's fine. It does look like it can be unsafe. But
I'll leave that one to you. I'm not getting up a pole. Who are your role models or sources of inspiration in your world?
Oh, interesting. I think just the people around me. So I don't necessarily have somebody, and look, we all fall into that little comparison bucket sometimes. It's like, oh, what's somebody doing, or am I good as them, or I'm not as good as them? And it's like, no, just leave that behind and actually just take your little bit of inspiration for everyone that you meet. Like, everybody's got something that they can offer. And sometimes that's great, and sometimes that's not so great. And so take it or leave it, whatever it is along the way. But, be open to listen to what other people have got.
How long have you been a speaker for?
About 3 years.
Yeah. Why do you do that?
Again, it's about sharing that story. It's about letting other people know that, we all face, those challenges and those obstacles. And it's how we then adopt our mindset to be able to overcome it. And I guess I'm lucky in the sense that I can swing it from the disability angle and say, well, you know what, like having a disability has taught me all of those things. But then I use my coaching expertise to then give people the tools to walk away and actually do that for themselves.
Yeah, fantastic. Any final words?
We're all individual, we're all unique, whether we've got a disability or a medical condition or whatever it happens to be. I mean, we all have those days where we're up, we all have those days where we're down. And, I think it's just about being kind to yourself and kind to other people. Be less judgy, I guess, is the biggest thing. And, and we're so judgmental not only of others but of ourselves. And I think just take a moment to think, am I actually being kind to myself, and am I being kind to other people? And how much empathy am I giving for situations? Because we never know what's happening behind the scenes. And sometimes we forget to think about what's happening behind the scenes in our own lives. So just take that moment to pause before we judge.
You're the second person today to say exactly the same thing. So it's going to be a key message, I think, through this project. Well, thank you so much for coming, because you weren't just down the road. You were down the road, around the corner and up the highway to get here. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here today.
Thank you. It's a good opportunity.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Breaking the Barriers. We hope these stories inspired you as much as they inspired us. Stay connected and keep the conversation going by following us on social media at Resilience Mindset. We'd love to hear your thoughts and see how these stories resonate with you. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast today so you never miss an episode. Together, let's continue to celebrate resilience, diversity, and the power of storytelling. Until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and keep breaking those barriers.